Hi, Jamie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are
You're
you?
good? I'm good. Yeah. So, I want to first start off the session by saying that you did sign this. I have your informed consent to treat, right? Okay. All right. So, I want you to know that during your process of treatment, um, I cannot share any information with you about you to other agencies without your written consent. Okay. So anything you say is confidential. It stays within the agency, meaning it stays within the agency. And there are some limits to confidentiality. And the limits are like if you report that any instances of abuse and neglect, of a child, a vulnerable person, intent to harm someone, those are, things that I have to report. I am a mandatory reporter and I have to report abuse and neglect. And I do have a duty to warn if you share with me that you plan to harm someone, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So we'll just get to know each other a little bit here today. Well, actually I've read your intake form um and your biopsychosocial. So I have a little bit of background information on you. Okay. So can you tell me what it is that you'd like to work on today? Is there anything, a topic that you'd like to, where
Um,
you'd like to
I have
start?
a lot of anxiety related to just general stress with life and school and dealing with a 73-year-old mother who makes poor decisions and is impulsive and tries to be dependent on me. So I'm trying to establish and maintain boundaries with her because she's in another state and it's very difficult and very stressful for me, especially when I'm trying to focus on school, and it a lot of times detracts from my focus on getting done what I need to get done.
Okay. So I have a question. Do you have any other siblings? Do you have other siblings?
No, I'm the
No,
only child,
no.
and she's
Okay.
or she doesn't have a husband. I'm basically the only family she has. Um,
The family she
So
has.
she
Okay.
she kind of depends on me for everything. So I'll give you an example. Um, I'll be working on homework and she'll call me and she'll say, I need some IT help. So she's not very good with the computer, she's not good with the cell phone. She's not good with anything. So I have to stop what I'm doing and help her pull up her email on her cell phone, something that we've done 5 times before, but I have to explain it to her all over again, and I've learned over the years to not get so upset about it. It used to really, really upset me, and it doesn't really upset me anymore. It's just I want her to try to understand that, like, I'm not you can't just call me up anytime, like, I know I'm in school, but it's the same thing as having a job. That's how I look at it, and I'm trying to help her understand that you're going to have to try to do it yourself and maybe send me a text message and say, "Hey, I need some help. Can you give me a call when you get a chance?"
So it sounds like you have a lot of, what I heard you say was that you have a lot of stress and anxiety because you are working, you're in school, and then you also have to care for your elderly parent who doesn't have boundaries. Seems to not really respect anything that you have going on. It's when she contacts you, it's about what she's got going on, and it's not really considering that you might have other engagements or you have other things that you have to do.
Right.
Yeah. Um, have you explained any of that with her? Have you ever kind of
I
tried
used
to
to,
tell
yeah.
her?
Yeah.
You
I used
have?
to not tell her. I used to just
Uh-huh.
get upset and frustrated and just say, Mom, you're gonna have to do it on your own. And I don't do that anymore. I try to stay calm and tell her, Mom, I'm right in the middle of something. If you give me an hour, I'll call you back. And she's usually okay with that. So,
She's just okay with that.
but I guess
So yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I guess the other thing that um frustrates me about her and is difficult for me is she she makes really, really bad life decisions. And this is a 73-year-old woman. And you would think that someone who's 71 would have their life straightened out and know how to manage money and take care of themselves. And she does things that are so irresponsible and destructive, just blowing money. It's almost like I've even wondered if maybe she has like a compulsive spending problem because
Mhm.
she spends money like it's going out of style and she doesn't have it. She's retired. She's living on a fixed income.
Mhm.
But she lives like she used to live, like she spends money like she used to when she was working, making $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
So it puts her in situations where it isolates her. She can't do anything. She doesn't have food because, her check hasn't come in yet. And, she'll call me and do the poor, pitiful me thing. And, well, I can't help you because I'm struggling myself. I'm in school. We're not, our income is short too. So I can't, you're in Florida. I'm in Alabama. I don't know what to tell you. So,
Mhm.
and sometimes it just it leaves me like I shouldn't have to. It's almost like I know when your parents get older, the the roles flip and your parent kind of turns into your child and you turn into the parent. But I'm trying to kind of establish these boundaries with her now so it doesn't get out of control. And it's just
Mhm.
hard because it's so frustrating. Like I just think to myself, how in the world can somebody who was so smart and successful and took care of herself for all these years now just be I just don't know. I don't know what to say.
Mhm. Yeah, so your mother, it sounds like you're really frustrated and overwhelmed. Um, because your mother makes impulsive decisions. She's compelled to spend a lot of money and not really making wise choices, and then expects for you to pick up the pieces
And fix it.
and fix it rather than to be responsible and live within her means. And that puts more frustration on you because you have your own bills and your own things that you're trying to maintain. Yeah.
So like what am I supposed to do when my mom calls and she says, I don't have anything to eat. I don't have any bread or peanut butter. I only have $2 in my checking account and I don't get paid until Wednesday. Like, what am I supposed to
Mhm.
say to that? Like, my gut wants to say, I'm going to Venmo you some money. But then I'm like, I shouldn't have to be doing this.
Mhm.
I mean, I shouldn't have to be sending you money so you can eat. Like,
Mhm.
and then I start thinking if I send her money, I'm enabling her, I'm
Mhm.
encouraging her to continue this lifestyle. But on the other
Mhm.
hand, if I tell her, Mom, you can't continue on like this, she just doesn't listen.
Mhm.
So I don't know what to do.
Right. Have you tried, have you used anything like say she calls you and says, hey, I don't have any money, I don't get paid for another 5 days. Um, have you tried to have her come up with ways or problem solve, like think of things that
Well,
she could do?
I asked her one time, I was like, well, Mom, I know you have a
Mhm.
pantry full of food. And I'm sure pretty sure there's something in there that you could use. So I have in the past, had her go to the pantry and tell me, what you got in your pantry. And so that kind of gets her mind off of, her worrying about the embarrassment of not having any money and not being able to eat. And so I get her to go to the pantry and she'll say, I don't have anything. And I'll say, well, because I know what she keeps in her pantry. I'll say, well, Mom, do you have some soup? And she says, yeah. And I said, well, do you have any saltine crackers? And she'll say, yeah. And I'll say, well, you could have some soup and some crackers for dinner. And she'll say, yeah, I guess I could do that. And then I'll say, I'm pretty sure you've probably got some canned salmon in there, right? And she'll say, yeah. And you can have some salmon croquettes, because you probably got all the stuff to make that. So it's kind of like, again, like I was saying, like mothering her. But
Mhm.
like, I just sometimes just get to this point where I'm just like, I don't, and I guess it's me being selfish. I don't know. I'm trying to keep myself together and do my thing. And here I'm trying to mother my mother who's in a different state.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean? Like when you have to mother your mother, right? What feelings come up when
I'm
you
completely and utterly frustrated with her. I love her and I would do anything for her except give her money. My husband and I have given her money in the past and never gotten repaid. And I will never give her any more money. So I don't, that's why I said off the cuff, I think I want to send her money, but I don't do it because I know that, again, that's enabling her. But it's just,
Mhm.
I guess, honestly, and probably sounds horrible, but I just want a regular mom. I just want a mom that is stable and responsible. And my mom is supportive of me, but she's not mentally stable. Like she doesn't support me in a way that a normal mom would. So
Mhm.
I kind of sometimes feel like I'm trying to keep my head above water and I'm trying to keep my husband's head above water. And then I'm trying to keep my mom's head above water. And like something, when you're trying to juggle all this, something's got to give.
Yes. So I don't know. I think that I'd like to see if we can look at if I can look up a type of support, like if there's any clues, like would you be open to watching a video about like um supporting your elderly parents or possibly setting healthy boundaries? Because it sounds like there's really a boundary issue there. She knows what she's doing. It doesn't sound like there's a issue with dementia. It's just that she doesn't have a lot to do with herself, maybe some activities or something. Maybe she doesn't have enough extra outside activities or things that she could possibly do in the community. She doesn't have that. And so she's just like spending money and
Oh,
doing things that are,
yeah.
that.
And the thing with her, and this is what's so frustrating, is that
Mhm,
she doesn't do anything. She sits in
mhm,
her house all the time. She doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't. I've tried to encourage her to join the senior center. I've tried to get her to go do aqua aerobics. I've tried to get her to go walk on the beach. I've recommended all this stuff and she won't do it. And she does have some mental health issues. She's um chronically depressed. She has anxiety. She has IBS. She has all kinds of issues. And unfortunately, she kind of uses those as excuses to not do anything. And this is kind of something that I've sussed out over my lifetime. She's not interested in getting better or, you know, recovering from any of these. She's interested in using these as an excuse to not do anything. So she would rather just stay at home and watch TV and eat and cook things. than go out
Mhm.
and do anything. And she doesn't like to be around people. I've tried to encourage her to go to church. She doesn't want to do that because she doesn't know anybody. And I've told her, if you can't meet people unless you go to the church, but she still
Mhm.
won't do it. So
Mhm.
I think having resources to try to help her would be a great thing. But I think this is the thing that I don't understand. She recommends things for my husband, for Rich's dad, who lives with us.
Uh-huh.
She says, you should get him to go to the senior center. And I want to be like, look, lady, you won't even go to the senior center yourself. So why are you recommending that another senior go to the senior center when you won't even do it?
Yes, I hear you. That sounds really frustrating,
It is.
like, yeah. So she knows things, she can make the recommendation for someone else, but not apply it
But
to
she won't
herself.
do it. And that's why
Uh-huh.
like sometimes I just kind of throw my hands up and I'm just like, I'm just not doing this today. This is a battle I'm not willing to fight. And sometimes honestly, and I hope you don't judge me for this, but sometimes when she calls and does the poor pitiful me thing, I just tell her, Mom, I hate that you're having a bad day, but I have to get back to writing this paper. So I'll call you a little bit later on this afternoon. And I just kind of have to say, you're not going to torment me, and you've created the situation. You know what to do. We'll talk later.
Yes. Okay, so let's take a look at, if you don't mind, we can take a look at maybe this video on setting healthy boundaries.
Yes, that would probably that would probably
Okay,
help a lot.
I have a two-part video here, but they're both really short.
Okay.
Let's see if we can find anything in there that's helpful. Okay,
Thank you.
okay. So let me see, what was this? Um, Screen share. Can you see?
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's get past this. Uh-oh. I think I've gotten the wrong video here. Let's get here. Okay, here it is.
And you may have to turn your audio on.
Oh, okay, one moment. Let me turn it on. Sorry about that. I'm not the most computer savvy person
That's
here.
okay. If you go, let me see. There should be audio in the screen share, like the screen share options.
Okay, let's see. There's the share. Um, Not really sure how to enable that audio. Let's see.
Try it now.
Okay, microphone, hmm,
Do you see something about share audio?
audio. Okay, now let's see if we can get back to the video. Thanks for your patience.
No worries.
Really. It doesn't seem like it's live or,
It doesn't, we have to hit play.
right,
Do you
I'm
see your
trying,
cursor?
it's not allowing it. Let's see. See, I've stopped the share for a second.
Okay.
Try it again. All right, here we go.
Nope.
Try it again. How to set boundaries that actually work. Let's try it.
Still can't hear it.
You still can't hear it? Nope.
Maybe-
All right, so we're gonna get rid of that before I flop my whole thing here. All right, so I'll just get rid of it. I don't know what to do to share it. I've never done this before today. I've always been live
I know
with,
it's complicated. I know there's something about when someone else screen shares, they have to allow audio or share audio. And I've never had to do that before.
yeah, I've never even done this before, never.
Um, you want me to share it on mine so we can look at it on mine?
Sure. It was called setting boundaries that actually work, how to set boundaries that actually work.
Okay. So if you'll stop sharing, I'll share mine.
Okay. I think I stopped sharing, right?
You did. Yeah.
And it's only one video.
I think it was part 3 you wanted to use.
I don't know, I have to see when it comes up.
Yeah, this one. Relationship skills,
Nope, down. The next one.
6.
Yep.
Guys, if you're looking to go back to school,
Can you hear it?
MCC is waiving their application.
I can. Can you hear it?
First.
Yeah.
They have over 125.
The second most common obstacle to setting
Oh,
boundaries
God.
is the belief that a boundary is telling the other person what they need to do. So
Yeah,
let's
I'm
take a
not
look
liking this.
at how to set
You wanna go
boundaries
back?
in a way that
We're
actually
gonna, yeah, because there's a 3-part series, it looks like. So we need to go to 1.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Uh,
people often ask me about boundaries, how to set them, how to hold them, and how to manage them, especially with the people
are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just watch that one and
closest to us, like our children or our employees or our bosses. Well, today we're going to talk about the number one most common obstacle to holding good boundaries. The most common misunderstanding about boundaries is that setting or holding a boundary is mean, harsh, or bad. That by setting a boundary, we have to be mean to someone else. And people who believe this kind of have in the back of their minds this idea that in order to set boundaries, you kind of have to balance out being kind and being mean to someone while still loving them. I mean, no wonder people shy away from holding boundaries because no one wants to be mean. So let's look into this a little bit more. People often associate saying yes or giving someone something with being kind and loving. And they associate saying no or being firm, direct, or harsh with someone as being unkind or hateful. Well, let's look into this a little bit more closely because that is not a fair association. We can say yes with love in our hearts, or we can say yes with hate in our hearts. And we can say no with love or hate in our hearts. So let's take a look at this chart. On the top of this chart, we can see two categories, being loving and being hateful or resistant, right? So where is our heart when we're doing a certain action? And is called The Way of Being by the Arbinger Institute. And it's talking about our deeper motivations or our intentions. Are they selfless or selfish? And on the left side of this chart, we're talking about soft or hard behaviors. So what type of behaviors we're talking about? Now, it's easy to think of the soft and loving behaviors, saying things like, yes, I'll listen to you, or yes, I'll give you that toy that I know you've been wanting for a long time, or yes, I'll let you go visit your friend because I trust you and I believe that you're going to be where you say you're going. So that's the soft, loving corner of this chart. The bottom right corner are the hard behaviors with a resistant or hateful heart, right? And these are easy to understand as well. So let's take a look at them. They're screaming, yelling, holding a grudge, any kind of physical violence, right? These are hard behaviors that come from a selfish, angry, or hateful place. Trying to force someone to change, saying no just because you're mad at someone, right? So these are the two opposite ends of the spectrum, and people often think that's kind of the only way to do it. If we say yes, we're being loving. If we say no, we're being hateful. Well, let's talk about what it looks like if we're saying yes, if we're being soft, having gentle behaviors while holding hate or selfishness in our hearts. What does that look like? This is called soft resistant. So let's think of a parent who doesn't want to deal with their kid anymore. They might say, sure, yeah, go watch TV. I just don't want to deal with you right now, is what they're saying in their heads. Or a parent in the grocery store, they're checking out, there's candy in the aisle. The kid starts screaming or asking for candy. Parent says yes, not because they think it's what's good for the child in this situation, but because they just don't want to hear the kid screaming. They're uncomfortable with the way other people look at them. They, for their own discomfort, are saying yes to the child. That's considered soft resistant. Right? So giving in a selfish way. Here's another example. Think of two people who are dating, and the one says, I love you, and the other one says, I love you too, but they don't really mean it. They're actually planning on breaking up with that person, but they don't want to, have to have an awkward conversation or an uncomfortable conversation. So they just kind of avoid it. Maybe they'll break up with the person through text message or just stop talking to them altogether. Now, this isn't because they're trying to be kind or loving to that other person. It's because they don't want to feel that discomfort. So to protect themselves, they're just being all soft and sweet, but in their heart, in their mind, they know they don't want to be with this person anymore. Now, it's not hateful to break up with someone, but it is selfish to not be upfront with them, to protect yourself from feeling that discomfort. A couple more examples, like being passive aggressive or sucking up to a teacher. You're treating them really nicely to get something from them. These are all examples of being soft resistant. Now, let's go to the other corner of this box. How is it possible to be hard with your behavior while still being loving? I mean, I'm going to ask you right now, is it possible to go shove a little kid like right into the road and he gets all scraped up, hit him hard maybe, right? Could that ever be a loving behavior? Well, yes, if a car is coming, right? If a car is coming to hit this kid and you push them out of the way of the car and they get skinned knees, that's the most loving thing you can do for them in that moment. Now, I'm obviously not advocating physical violence, but I'm saying that almost all behaviors can be done from two different places, from a loving, selfless place or a hateful, selfish place. So, saying no more TV. Yes, you must brush your teeth. No, you can't buy that toy right now. These are all ways to lovingly help provide a positive future and discipline for a child. if they're coming from a place of love. I once had this boss, his name was Shane Gallagher. He was amazing. And he told me a story about a time when he fired someone with so much love and concern for their future that they thanked him afterward and said, I just really appreciate you looking out for me by firing me, right? He fired someone out of love for them. And it was because, the job just wasn't the right place for them to be. They weren't able to do a good job for the other people there. They needed to be somewhere else. So this is the hard, loving side of things. I hope that by taking a look at this chart, we're able to let go of this false idea that saying no is just this mean thing we have to do and balance out with, being nice. Saying no can be one of the kindest, most loving things we do for someone. People respond more to our intentions than whether we're saying yes or no. I mean, working in residential treatment, I've seen two different staff tell one child in treatment the same rule. You have to XYZ. And the other staff saying, you have to XYZ. And the child says yes to the one and no to the other because the child can tell where is that staff member's heart in the time they're telling them that rule. So it's less about rules than it is about where your heart is when you're enforcing them and setting those boundaries. People will feel when you're saying no to them, they can feel that you care about them when you do it. Some people might get confused by this, thinking that what I'm saying is we should let people walk all over us, or we should allow people to take advantage of us, or we should never really, do anything harsh to someone else. And that's absolutely not what I'm saying. If someone's mistreating you, is it really in their best interest that you don't put your foot down? No. In general, the reason people don't set boundaries is because they're afraid of being mean, they're afraid of feeling guilty, or they're afraid of feeling scared. So the reason they're not setting that boundary is not for the other person. They're not trying to be kind to the other person. They're trying to prevent themselves from feeling uncomfortable. It's selfish. Setting boundaries with someone else or telling them no can be the kindest thing we do for them and the most honest thing we do for ourselves. But to do it, we have to allow ourselves to experience our emotions. Now, remember, the way we get healthier is not just about feeling better, but it's about getting better at feeling. So we allow ourselves to feel a little bit of discomfort as we set these boundaries, and we're going to get a lot better at it. So just to sum things up, let's let go of the idea that setting boundaries is mean and focus instead on where our heart is when we're making these choices about boundaries, right? Let's focus our intentions on being kind, loving, and seeing what the other person needs. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.
That was really good.
So when you're setting boundaries with your mother, how do you see what feelings come up when your mother when she calls you again with these things? You said frustration, right?
Right. And like she said, I feel obligated to do what she's asking me because she's my mom.
She's
And
your mother.
that's what's
Exactly.
different. Yeah, it's different because I guess culturally, like we're expected to obey our parents. And
Exactly.
that's how we are raised. And it's hard for me because there's a discrepancy in I'm not 10, I'm grown. I still want to give her the respect of a parent, but I don't know how to continue that same amount of respect when I'm an adult. And that video helped me understand that you can be loving but firm. And it's not appropriate for me to just, tell her, I don't want to deal with you right now. That's not appropriate for me to do. It's not respectful, and it's not done in love. It's done in selfishness. At least that's how
Right.
I
It sounds like you found some things helpful in that video.
Yes.
Yes.
You.
So would you be willing to practice with your mother?
Absolutely. Yes.
Uh-huh. So that is what I'd like to see, if you would try to take a loving approach. Well, I feel like I'm telling you what to do. I shouldn't be telling you what you already know what to do, right? So try another